All right. Good morning. Good morning. Michael and Israel here with an early
Early
Tech
today. Yeah.
Tuesday. So it's that time of the year where we'll have to squeeze them in as we can. So hope everybody's doing all right. As always, if you've got questions, drop them in the comments. If you can't hear me, uh, I guess I'd say everybody that can't hear me, raise your hand.
There you
Um, so we're just talking spring break, actually, which it is a little chilly in some areas, but I'd say a lot of you anglers probably enjoying some nice weather, not dealing with Arctic blasts coming through the southeast. Hopefully, we're done with that.
go. We got some wind coming, I think, tomorrow night. So
Oof. Um, yeah. So if you've got questions, then drop them in there. I have a couple of questions. Um, and I may actually have screwed the pooch on being set up to get the questions. We'll deal with it as we can, though.
I can turn
Um,
my neck this week, so that's good.
that's
Look like a
all right, guys. Yep. Let me pull this up, and we're gonna roll as we can. So, all right. Let me get a question up, and then I'm gonna try and fix something. First one that I've got is about Avid 23 mag with a 250 show. He's installing the Raptors. Does he need a 4-inch or 6-inch bracket on the jack plate to clear the motor?
uh. I would go with the biggest one that you can use. And the other thing you have to keep in mind is if you have a ladder on the back, you end up having to extend that jack plate out even further. So
Okay.
um, and 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 even with that, you end up having to modify the ladder. You have to bring one of the arms in a little bit, so the Raptor doesn't hit hit the arm of the ladder. So
Okay.
it's not the most friendly setup
Yeah,
of all.
I think when they announced the Raptor, I remember having a conversation with somebody from Avid that they were talking about basically they were going to try to manipulate the design of a couple of these boats, particularly like the 19FS with the sponsons on the back,
Yeah,
to try. Basically, they want to make the boat easier to install the
think so.
Raptors
Yeah,
because they're not big enough boat manufacturer for Minn Kota to.
cater to them.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was the takeaway I got
and
from the
so
conversation.
we've been having to do the catering, and it's been very difficult to make it happen. So
Um,
I had
yeah.
one guy ask if we could just bolt it to his engine. I was like, no, we can't bolt it to your engine.
Yeesh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you,
Well,
you show me how to do it. We might.
finding ways. I guess that's part of growing
Can't you
pains.
just bolt it to the engine? Yeah.
All right. Let's get Scott's up here. What do you got? A 2006 Yamaha F150. I'm assuming that's not a Ford F150 because that's not what we're here to talk about. I can't get the Garmin 94 to read the engine details through the backbone.
Garmin, I believe, makes an interface box. Well, I call it a box. It's actually like a little module that you have to put in conjunction. I've heard both ways. I've heard one guy tell me he figured out a way to make it read, but I think he ended up using a Lowrance older style interface little cable that had a module built into it,
Ah,
which I've not been able to find myself. But there is an interface out there that makes it to where you can read the engine data on the Garmin, but it's the same one. It may be the same one they use on the Lowrance. So you'll also have to have the NEMA network cable that goes to the engine too. So there's a trick to it, but it's doable. But you got to find that little box, little module.
Scott, I would say if you want to message where you're on Facebook, message us with the question, and we can probably turn around and talk to our Garmin rep and
Mm-hmm.
see basically, we'll make sure that it's his problem to solve the exact answer. But there, it sounds like there's a
It
couple
has to
different
have it has
options.
to have some translations in there, so and it has to have the module to do it. I've not had. We've put one on some Garmin's, so I know we've had a module that we've had to use. My wife Angela at the service desk found it. I wasn't really that involved in it, but I know we were able to get it to read at one point. And I can't remember if that was a Mercury that he was trying to get it on, or if it was the Yamaha. I think he was trying to get it on a Mercury.
Okay.
So
Well, there you go. Let's see what else. Shane, good morning. Um,
hello.
what is constitutional fishing? I like it. All right. Got a question for you. Looking to buy some depth finders, looking at the Helix 5 DI and GPS. Any recommendations?
Yeah, I mean if that works for you,
Yeah.
we probably have those here in stock. So if it's something that you can't find anywhere else, we usually carry the fives. We carry fives, sevens, eights, nines, sometimes tens when we can get them, sometimes 12s when we can get them. And I do have some 15s if you really want to be able to see it well.
Um, so if you're looking for fishing application does the Helix 5 DI meet the? This is probably not the show to ask the questions on those.
I can get.
We can offer opinions.
I've got
Um,
some general knowledge of
yeah,
the depth
it's,
finders. I've had to do, when people have given up in life on depth finders, they usually come to me, and I'm not the expert, but I can generally make myself the expert pretty
so,
quickly.
so I would say this. Certainly, so a Helix 5 in today's world, I think is considered a fairly small. If you're looking just for like the quality, is the Humminbird line a good? I mean, we do at least 85-ish% of
Yeah,
our boats go out with Humminbird product.
yeah. And then you go, then we got Garmin, and then
Yeah, and
Lowrance.
we do handle them all. So if you want a good, reliable, unit, certainly fans or folks in our area are big fans of Humminbird for various reasons.
But as far as resolution goes, the
Yeah,
smaller units usually actually have better resolution than the big ones. Just because the bigger you get, the harder it is, the more expensive it is to throw some resolution in there.
yeah.
I guess you could say.
So you will be extremely limited with the Helix 5, the DI. I definitely like some of those more basic stuff without GPS, and I mean the price difference is negligible in my opinion.
If you were to get one, I would suggest if you're getting a five, make sure it's the N version. You can
Yeah,
get both. You can get one that says Gen whatever, like Gen 3N.
yeah,
The N just means it's network capable. So if you do get another unit in
yeah.
the future and you want to, say have a one on the front, one on the back, you can share waypoints between the two. So
But yeah, I mean the Helix 5, the DI. So again, you're gonna have the down imaging, which is great. But some of the like beautiful pictures of structure and stuff like that you see, that's the mega side imaging, you're not going to have that capability. And if the other thing I'll throw out there, even regardless of your age, that Helix 5 mounted on the bow, if you're standing up, for me at 6'2", that's a fairly small unit to be looking at from standing on top of. And I didn't, I guess for my 2 cents, since you're asking, my opinion, I would look at a 7 and see if you can swing the price difference on a 7. Again, like Israel said, we've got them all. You know,
and depending on where you're putting it, if you're putting
yeah,
it on the front, I would say
yeah.
stick with the DI. If you're putting it on the back, I would recommend getting maybe the side
But
imaging one.
if it tells you anything, I know. I mean, I've got a Helix 7 for my kayak, and in the world today, I think the sevens are kind of where you're starting. So, um, Shane has the Garmin 10s, and they are perfect for everything. Yes, Shane's got a sweet Garmin setup. So, all right, let's take a look at. Would like to know that answer as well. In the 06 225 will mess. Okay, all right, yeah. I'm assuming that's for motor interface. Back to that question. Um,
Now, if you've got Lowrance units, it's a lot easier. They're pretty much plug and play with the interface cable on the Yamaha.
so there's a pro for Lowrance. You know, we get asked the question all the time, which brand? Like, you know, like I said, I mean, pretty much if it's an electronic, we have we can get it. So we've got suppliers, but predominantly, I would say it this way: we predominantly do Humminbird, and we're getting more and more Garmin with as LiveScope has come along, and Garmin's making a little bit more. Gaining more market share, I guess. Would that be an appropriate way to say it?
Yeah,
They're getting more freshwater.
mm-hmm.
The live scope obviously made a huge difference,
Mm-hmm.
and that I would dare say, not to speak for you, Shane. He bought an Avid and decked it out with Garmin. I'm assuming that a lot of that drove him to, or the live scope drove him to really go down that Garmin road. And I think, I mean, there's a lot of good, but it seems like Eastern Georgia stuff. You get a lot of guys that come over that are they got to have Lowrance, so I don't know.
Maybe it's because they're near the saltwater.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the mapping. I know that. Well, anyways, we'll there's a ton to unpack in electronics. Maybe we need to grab a John. So that would be one. So go John Cruz. I know at the end of last season he put a YouTube video out. John Cruz is one of our pro staff, owner of Missile Baits.
So would you say he was a cruise missile bait owner?
It must be spring break week because we're making dad jokes. But he did a video. So he intentionally last season on the Elite Series did not do any brand deals. So he used a little of everything. Lowrance, Garmin, and Humminbird. I know he put a good video, and he may have put out a couple of videos with his thoughts on the different brands. Now, of course, when you go back to that Helix 5 discussion, he's looking at it from the bigger graph setups, but he's got some good content out there. That would be a great if you want to see a brand comparison. I feel like we've gone down a rabbit hole on electronics. I apologize, guys, if we have.
That's where we belong, man, I guess.
Yeah, need to run some wires at the console from the batteries. Low on room. When I stick my hand through the inspection hole of the gas tank, I can detect 2 tunnels. The battery hole, there's only one long shot, but do you know where the other one is? It's on a 95 2120 Robala. I'm going to be real impressed if you know the inner workings of
well, the 2 tunnels, one's going to go to the bow and the other one's going under the console. Which one goes where? I would see, I'd look under your console, and wherever all the wires are coming up, they're coming up from the right side, then the right tube is probably under the console. And if they're coming up from the left side, then the left tube is going to be your console. Otherwise, the other tube is going to be running all the way to the front of the boat.
Well,
that's my 2 cents.
So depending on how much room you got, maybe running fish tape or.
Yeah, and you can go to Lowe's, sells a screw it together fish tape now, which I recommend over the curled up one. I hate the curled. I told my guys to throw theirs in the garbage or take them home, or I don't know, do something with them because I hate them. They're hard to run stuff with, and they can tear boats up because I like to flop flip and do all kinds of weird stuff. So we just use the plastic screw in or the fiberglass screw in ones that you can go 30 feet with them. So.
All right. So unfortunately, I think the answer is
Yes.
it's trial and error.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. You
Try
just have
it.
to use some deductive reasoning on
Yeah.
it, and it usually works out pretty good. So.
All
If,
right.
if you're putting one in there and it just keeps on going and keeps on going, that's going to the front of the boat.
And you might,
And if you put it in the other one and it keeps on going and keeps on going, they really screwed you over.
but you have to go back to 1995.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Can you replace can you swap out shafts on an Altera?
You can. Technically, they don't make a 60-inch shaft, 45-inch shaft Altera anymore. But I believe the shaft, some of the shafts are the same as long as they got the groove in them. But I will tell you this: I have cut a few down for people. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that or not, but it seems to work well. So, actually, one of our pro staff, Clay Dyer, had one, and it was just obscenely too long. He wanted to put one on the bass boat because, he's getting to where it's hard for him to deploy a trolling motor.
And if you're not familiar with Clay Dyer in terms of what would be harder, he has no arms or legs. So
yeah, so he decided this year or last year to go with the Altera, and that way he could push a button and deploy it. Yeah. So I shortened his for him, so it wouldn't be hanging off the boat 10 feet. So
I would guess that Minn Kota probably would not have a huge issue with you doing that for Clay. So, no. But yeah. All right. Well, I hope that answers that question. Here's another swapping out shaft question. Or lower unit. So he's got a 150 horse Yamaha TXR. It's too long. Can you swap out the lower units? And if
on so, that particular model, yes. But you have to take. I don't know if I can point right here. We go right here ish. There's like a little adapter plate there.
I can get rid of.
Yeah, you see right here. There's an adapter plate right there. It's about 5 inches long. Okay. You take the lower unit off, you take that off, and then you can put just a standard lower unit back on there. Matter of fact, that exact same motor we put on Lee Pitt's boat.
Okay.
And not only did I take the adapter plate off, I put a modified V6 SHO low water pickup lower unit and put it on there. And it was super sweet.
And for those of you not familiar,
unofficially.
Unofficially. So don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Don't.
I've done it. It's not something I would do on something that has a warranty.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so this was it was like a 06. I did it on it. Now the new style ones, that new SHOs, if it's a XL, it's a XL for life because they don't put that adapter plate in anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I did find that out. So that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a limited number of those extra long shaft. Most of the boats that we sell just don't require.
We'll get some weird ones every now and then that'll send us a 25 shaft. I think Avid has a few that 23s.
Yes. I can't remember now off the top of my head.
I don't know which one it is, but I know we sold one the other day. It's the 200XB.
Yeah.
That is a long shaft or extra long shaft engine.
All right.
It's bent rod right there. I can see it.
Yeah. So he's looking for advice. It's a F225. It's 2003. Took it apart. As suspected, one rod is bent. Water ingestion at start from cowling.
Yes. I've seen this before.
So I was kind of hoping you could. This one I pulled out of my own curiosity. What is the water ingestion at start from the cowling? What is that referring?
Well, and I've actually had this on a brand new engine. They like to trim these motors way up and turn them to the side. Well, if you turn it to the wrong side, especially the new V8s and V6s, it'll pour water right into the intake. And when you go to crank it, it goes whoop, and then you better stop because if you keep on and you throw my battery's dead, I'm gonna put a jump box on it. Whoop, whoop. Well, every time you're whomping it, you're bending that rod.
Gotcha.
And then it runs like crap.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
I've seen that particular one. Matter of fact, the one I sold Lee Pitts we were talking about, that's
Yeah.
what happened to it, and I rebuilt it,
All right.
and it sat on the shelf for like 5 years, and then I
And now it's
put it all back together.
running every day,
Oh yeah,
taking trucks out
killing
on.
the car off piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting some good usage. All
Yeah.
right. Well, those are all the questions I had, and it looks like we got everything answered. So I guess, yeah, dang, 24 minutes. I appreciate the questions. Hopefully, some of it helped you out. Again, message us with the Garmin stuff, and we can run that to ground and help you out. And if we need to order something, if we don't have something on the shelf, then get it ordered. And if you're not local, we can get your address and get it shipped to the mail. No problem. So, all right. Well, if it's spring break for you guys, hope you have a great spring break. Maybe find some time to get on the water. And yeah, boating season.
Upon us.
It is upon us, and stuff starting to get covered in pollen. Man, it's just
can't wait.
just that time of the year. So schedule your maintenance.
That's it.
And yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yep.
So thanks. Have a great weekend and a great rest of your week.